Welcome to the implementation secret of the art of getting people to read your email and take action. Hi, I'm Heather Cole with Lodestar Solutions, and for the last 30 years, I've been studying influence persuasion and really had a lot of what I call life lessons. Have you ever sent an email and you send it and no response? I mean, crickets, like nobody does anything. So what do? You send another email and you keep sending them. And maybe you do it a couple times a day and nothing happens. Well, maybe it's not the other person. Maybe it's your approach. So today I'm going to share with you how you can not only get your emails read, but get people to take action. Now, this applies whether you're a salesperson, whether you're inside a company, maybe trying to get IT to give you access to some databases. This works everywhere. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you have to think about when you are sending your email is the subject line. And I get these emails all the time where people have taken an email stream and they just keep forwarding it, and then they write other stuff. And by the time you get it, like 10 iterations later, the subject line has nothing to do with the matter at hand. And so you really want to be cognizant that when the topic switches, it may be the same recipients, but that you actually change the subject line. And if you really want people to read it and open it, you got to first address two things, right? You want to create a sense of urgency if the topic at hand is urgent. Like maybe you're trying to get some reporting out for the CFO and you need to get access to a particular database, but you keep emailing and no access. So you want to create a sense of urgency as to when you need this information or that there's a deadline. The word deadline in a subject line usually gets people to pay attention. The other thing that you want to do is if you're trying to persuade someone is to look and address in the subject line their fear or their pain. So for example, I oftentimes will reach out to clients that I find out maybe their IBM licensing has not been updated. And so over the years, IBM changes their licensing models and maybe, just maybe, they might be at risk of failing an audit because they didn't update their licensing because things change, right? So I might put in the subject line, you're at risk of failing an audit, let's talk, or I can help. And when people get that, they're like, whoa, I got to email, I got to open this, right? Because nobody wants to fail an audit. And that's true of a lot of software companies. So that will create that sense of fear and urgency to get this solved right away. So the other thing that I've learned to do that's very, very effective is that I oftentimes will write in the subject line, if it's just reference, I'll do REF. If it's action needed, I will put in capital letters ACT colon, like act, there's action required, or urgent, URG colon, and then my subject line. What that does is it really kind of focuses people on whether this is really important, or if there's a deadline, or if they have to do something with regard to this email. And those really help you get those emails addressed and open. Now, one thing is my pet peeve is when people send non-important emails, read receipt. Now, I don't know about you, I use Microsoft Outlook, and when I get those, it asks me if I want to respond to the other person. If this isn't important information, please do not put read receipt. That's just plain annoying. I'm guessing some of you are there with me right now, right? So you can actually teach other people how to use some of these nomenclatures of like urgent, information or reference only, and it will help your whole organization level up in their email. Now, let's talk about the next thing is how do you put content in the email that people actually read? So I was talking today to a consultant who was struggling because they had a client, and this could be internally for you too, that really needed to upgrade their Cognos Analytics environment. And they sent the email to the CIO and it wasn't getting a response because you know what, CIOs are busy. But what was happening is he was just kind of putting a light little subject line and saying, hey, this is what we should do. So I said to him, I said, let's change this up. Do you want your email read? Now, in this particular case, the consultant told me that the client's key person that handles the software just resigned. Like that person's leaving in a couple weeks. Now, I said, what you need to do first is address the pain or the challenge that the CIO is having right now. And I don't know if any of you have had a team member that's been there like 10 years resign, but it's scary because a lot of stuff is in their head. And so I said, let's first address their biggest pain. In the subject line, I said, right, I understand John is left, or John left, I can help, right? Because that's the pain. And then talk about how you can help. Now, once that subject line is there, that's going to get opened, right? Because this person's really nervous about this person leaving. Now, the second thing that we're going to do is we're going to use a new format for email. Now, I developed this methodology or this framework, we'll call it, called IWAS. Now, some of you know I'm a licensed attorney and did my time in law school. And anyone that goes to law school, you learn legal writing. And legal writing is designed to be persuasive. And there's this thing called IRAC. It's a method or a framework that you write your legal briefs in. Well, I modified it a little bit, and I'm bringing it to you today. And that is called the IWAS method. Now, I first came up with this when I had a client who he was in finance and he was trying to get access to a database. And what was happening is every time he sent the email to IT, they didn't even read it, they didn't respond, it went nowhere. This went on for 6 months. 6 months, he was trying to get access to this database and nothing, like it didn't happen. So he's very frustrated. He's like, I can't do these new models for the CFO without this access to this information, and they just won't listen to me. I said, I can solve that. I said, send me your email, what you sent. And I read the email, and he's like all caps, like he's kind of angry, right? I like, number one, never gonna get a response from that. So I said, let's talk about how you write this email. I said, I want you to follow this method. First, type the issue. The issue is, I believe I need access to such and such database. Boom, right? The next piece, you're going to add why you need this. So understand, IT's job is to protect and save that data. I always say, it's like they're the knights guarding the gold in the castle, right? So they're not just going to give anybody access to databases. They need to know why. So I said, now put in the email why you need it. The CFO has tasked me with a modeling project, and I need access to this information. Now, then you do the analysis. I believe the information is sitting in this database. However, if there is a better place for me to get it, please share your insights. What we just did there is we showed the recipient that we value their opinion. And that's absolutely key to get action, because when you just tell people what to do, they don't usually respond very well to that. But if you collaborate with them and ask for their help and allow them to share their insights and knowledge, because let's be honest, sometimes we think it's in a certain database, but they might have like a better data lake or a better place to get access to that information. So definitely put the analysis there. Keep it short when you do this, people. Okay, the next part is the summary. Therefore, Bob, if you could please help me get access to this data so that I could move forward on my project that is due for the CFO on this date. Like if you put dates in there, again, a sense of urgency gets developed and they're more likely to take action. And so here's what happened with this client. We wrote the email and I said, here's what's going to happen. Send this email and I'm going to bet that in the next 24 hours, they're going to respond to you. And he's like, I doubt it, because it's been so long that nobody's responded to me. I said, send it and we'll see what happens. I hang up the phone. Not 5 minutes later, he calls me back and he's like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe it. I sent the email and they actually responded already. Like they said, no problem, we'll give you access. He's like, I've been trying for 6 months. I've called them, I've left messages. And I'm like, it's in your messaging. So the moral of the story, everyone, words matter. That's right. How you write it, make it more collaborative. Make it like you're all solving a problem together. People love to help people, but they want to also not be told to help people. Does that make sense? Okay. So the next thing I want to share with you is also be careful how you write your emails. So especially on this analysis section. So I had a consultant that used to work for me, and she was a very detailed, which I love. That made her just an amazing consultant because she knew all the little details. My challenge with that is I'm a person with ADD and like I see shiny things. So she would send me these emails and they would be like, I'd open them up and I'd just like, oh my gosh, like I was not going to read that. So I tried to retrain her. And by what I would do with the emails, I know this sounds horrible and it sounds like I'm a terrible person, but I would write in the email about 2 sentences down in big red bold letters, I stopped reading here. And I'd send it back to her. And then with that email, I'd say Cliff Notes, please. And for those of you that don't remember Cliff Notes, those were like the way you cheated in English class. You would get the Cliff Notes that told you all the highlights of the book, like a Charles Dickens book or something. So you sounded smart, right? So I wanted the Cliff Notes of her emails. And the reason why I would do this is not just for my own selfishness, but because I needed to teach her that her emails were not getting read by her clients either, because she was just giving way, way too much information. So summary, and then if they ask for more information, you can provide it in a follow-up email, okay? Also, when you send emails, be really cognizant of who you're copying. How many people get way too many emails? I get like 500 emails a day, and I'm like, delete, delete, delete. So I also periodically will send an email out saying, hey guys, I'm trying to better control my email. Excuse me, please only send me stuff that I need to take action or that I really need to know about, right? So that's another way that you personally can control your email. Okay, so I want to also share with you today some must-read books because you're clearly on this session. You're looking at this video right now or this webinar because you want to be more influential. You want to get results and you are an action taker. So first off, I applaud you. But I'm also going to give you some homework. As you guys know, I love homework. It's fun work. And this is to read 3 must-read books. The first one is actually any book by Robert Cialdini. This man is like the expert in persuasion and influence. So if you have not either listened to or read any of his material on persuasion, time to do this. And I just realized I grabbed a picture of the Spanish version, but they do have it in English. And so if you're saying to me, Heather, I don't have time to read, get it, but no excuse, because they have this amazing thing called Audible. If you don't use Audible, check it out today. I'm a big fan of Audible. When I use Audible, I go hiking, I download the book on my phone. And then here's the trick, guys. You can speed up Audible. And so I can speed it to like 2 or 2.5 times. Sometimes they sound a little bit like the Chipmunks, but it gets the content so much faster. And then here's what I also do. When you're listening to Audible and you get to a section that's really good and you want to go back there, you can tag it. You can like hit your phone and then tag it, and you can even put notes there. So it's a great way to get through material. I'm also a big Kindle user. So if you like to read, then go ahead and let's get the Audible version because you can, or I'm sorry, the Kindle version, because you can take it anywhere. And here's another trick I learned about Kindle that I was super excited about. You can actually, you can tag your pages similarly to Audible. You can hit the little thing and tag or highlight the page. You can also highlight text. Well, I'm a big highlighter of text, right? Always highlighting. And then I found out there's this cool thing where you can actually email all your notes and your highlights to yourself. So imagine reading a book, highlighting everything, and then just get the highlights in your email. So you always have a summary of that book. My favorite thing. Okay, so the next book that you absolutely should read is Gap Selling. Now, you're probably saying, Heather, I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to be a salesperson. And I'm going to call you out. Every one of you is a salesperson. Why? Because you're trying to be influential. You want people to listen to your ideas. You want creative new projects, right? Or maybe you're trying to get a job. Like whatever it is, Gap Selling, I think, should be a required read. And this is by Keenan. He is fabulous. And in fact, if you go on LinkedIn and you follow him, he does some great little LinkedIn lives. I listen to him all the time. I just love this guy. He's got great energy and just tremendous knowledge. So let's say you're trying to get funding for a project or funding to hire a new person. If you approach it with ideas of gap selling, you can be way more successful in getting what you want. Now, the third and final book is Hypnotic Writing: How to Seduce and Persuade Customers with Only Your Words. Again, you might not be in sales, but you want people to read your emails. You want people to listen to you. And this book by Joe Vitale is fabulous for teaching you kind of the framework, I'm going to call it, on how to get people to read what you're writing. Now, I'm a numbers person. Many of you know that I joke that I'm not very good in English language, but give me binary or hexadecimal and I'm golden, right? But I can tell you, the more you learn to write better, the more your career is going to take off, because so much of what we do today is written words. So go ahead, get these 3 books. I think all of them are on Audible, maybe not Hypnotic Writing, but that's a book you're going to want to keep and mark up. So I might get the paperback version of that one. So I hope I added some value to you today so that you can get your emails read and get people to take action so you can accomplish your dreams and goals faster. But that's here at Lodestar, we're all about helping our clients. Now, if you happen to need some analytics help, maybe you want to learn how to pitch, how you can start using data and analytics and AI more in your organization, give me a shout. I love talking with executives and sharing ideas how they can level up their data and analytics solutions to better accomplish and faster accomplish their strategic goals. So reach out to me at Lodestar Solutions. It's hcole@lodestarsolutions.com. And we look forward to seeing you. If you didn't know, we do these webinar series every month. Check them out. We'll put them on YouTube too. And if you have ideas for future webinars that you'd like to learn about, shoot me an email on that too. We'll see you next month here on Lodestar Solutions and our YouTube channel. See you then.